Hey there, this is Ragnon, and this is a quick video that I want to make for some questions that I've been getting on some of my videos about how to plan cooldowns, the process that I use going into raid each week, and then also how to display those in game, both in a note format up here in the corner, and then also there's a weak aura that pops up showing what cooldown I'm about to do and how many seconds I have until then, and it also has an audio cue that tells me that that's coming up. So I'm going to show you all that in this video. So let me just double check I'm recording. Yes. All right. First step. The first tool that you're going to need is a spreadsheet that is made by Viserio on his Discord. If you're not familiar with Viserio, he is a very awesome contributor to the both the priest community and also just the healer community as a whole. So he creates a spreadsheet every raid tier, and you can find it by joining his Discord. If you are not connected on his Discord, there are a couple ways that you can find that. The first way is on the Warcraft Priests Discord. There's a link in the FAQ section for each of the healer channels. You can also just type in Viserio Discord, and there's a couple different ways that you can find it. There's a Reddit one right here that actually just has a link right here. So you can click on that, and that'll open up your Discord and get you started. So when you get on the Discord, there is a section here called Resources, and you'll find his healing sheets here. So if you click on it, it will take you to his master document. So for that difficulty, so for example, this is his heroic difficulty sheet. And you'll want to make your own copy because obviously this is his master. You can't edit it, nor should you. So you want to click on File and make a copy for yourself. So now you have your own copy of that sheet. Now I've actually combined both the mythic and the heroic sheets all into the same document just to keep it easy for my purposes and also for sharing and stuff. So I have it all in one big mega document. And the way that you can do that is also the same process for if a sheet gets updated. Let's say that this Gnarroot one, something changed, or you found a different way to optimize it or something like that, and there's a new version that's available. The way that you can do that is you go to his master sheet, you right click on the boss that you're wanting, and go to copy to, existing spreadsheet, and then under recent you'll want to find your spreadsheet and insert it, and that will add it as a new tab. And then you can go and manually copy over your cooldowns and stuff like that, and then delete your old sheet. And so I've done that by taking his mythic healing sheet and then opening up tabs from heroic and adding them one at a time. So that's how I've created my sheet, and that's also how the process that I go through to update it when it gets changed. So the first thing that you'll want to do here is you'll want to go to Setup, and you'll want to add your name. Make sure you're in for all of the bosses, and then with this specific one, this is only going to work for the mythic sheet because that's how he's created it. But for the purposes of what I want to do, it's fine. So I don't need all of the functionality of this setup page, but it can be nice. Then the next thing we need is, all right, we're going to start off with Gnarroot here. I've already done all of my mythic planning for the week. I still need to do my holy planning for tomorrow, just because I'm trying to parse and stuff like that, just for a reclair, just for fun. And so I need to do these, and I figured may as well just make a video while I'm doing this process. So the next tool that you need is a website called lorgs.io, lorgs.io. And this is an incredible tool for not only just healers, but for DPS as well. All specs can benefit from this. So this is a tool that aggregates the top 50 logs for every spec, and it shows you how their cooldowns are being used and where it lines up with a certain boss mechanic. And so it's a really quick way, rather than checking logs manually, it's a good way to see patterns at a glance. So we're going to look at Holy Priest here. And I'm on Gnarroot, and I want to change this to Heroic. And you can see up here at the top, it shows the boss abilities that are notable. So Tortured Scream is one of the biggest abilities that causes damage in this fight, so that's where healer cooldowns are often used. And then you can also see this is the intermission, and this Uprooted Agony is the end of the intermission. You can turn on or off different boss mechanics right here. You can also track different cooldowns. For example, symbol is not tracked by default, but if I want to click on it, I can see where priests are using their symbol of hope. Also, if things are clustered and stuff, then I can turn on or off different cooldowns just to see a little bit easier, because there's not a zoom functionality on this. You can check externals, PI timings and stuff. You can check potions, trinkets, all that good stuff. I am also tracking seedling because that is what I'm using. I have not got a second trinket that I like. So while I'm still farming and being unlucky, I am using seedling, although I like it a lot. So maybe I'll just keep using it. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for clusters of cooldown patterns. So you can see right here, there's a nice wave. Let me turn off seedling real quick. There's a nice wave of divine hymn and some salves right here during this tortured scream. It's a little bit after, so we'll look at the sheet and see what's happening at 35-ish seconds that's causing all these cooldowns to be used. So let's go look at that now. If we look, about 32 seconds, that's when the circles get targeted on players. And then right here at 38 seconds is when they explode. So somewhere in that window is a nice time to use an ability because it will heal the targets as they're taking the dot and then when they explode. So I'm going to go ahead and put it here at 38. There's very few that are at 38. I'm going to put it at 32. I'd rather be early. So I'm going to type in my name here, and then I'm going to type in hymn, because that's what I want to use at that time. Okay, so that's when I'm going to use my first hymn. Next, it looks like there's a cluster of abilities right here, about 108 or so. Let's see what's going on there. Same deal, circle debuffs. So let's go ahead and type in Ragnon, and I'm going to put my salve. Actually, I'm not going to put salve there. I see a bigger cluster right here at the end of the intermission during Uprooted Agony. So I'm actually going to put mine there. So we'll put it right here on intermission end. Let's put it right here on Uprooted Agony. Let's see. Salve. Okay, and I'm going to go off on a limb real quick. I want this timer right here. I want something during this 108 time. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stick a seedling right there. So that's another little mini cooldown that I can do. And I'm just going to manually type that in. It's not added as a default cooldown, so it's going to add it as a text cue. So cool. Looks like most kills are happening a little bit after 2 minutes, so I'm not going to be able to fit in any other cooldowns. I am done on Gnarl Root. Let's do another example. I'm going to do Agira as disc to show you how to do that. Oops, I messed that up somehow. There we go. Okay, so let's look at a disk log. So Agira, I need to change to disk. So you click on that little L and go back to the home page. Switch to disk, Agira, and I'm going to change it to heroic. Now, these are all over the place. Heroic is kind of a mess a lot of times. If you look at mythic, you're going to see a lot more clear patterns start. Well, this is also kind of a mess too, but you're going to start to see some more clear patterns start to develop. So let's look at heroic. All right, so I want as discs to plan out my evangelism. So I can see there's a pattern here right at the beginning. There's a cluster at about 13 seconds. Let's see what's happening at 13 seconds. 13 seconds is the first spear. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put in a placeholder. I might want to use my cooldown there. I might want to use it later, and I'll show you why in a second. Looks like there's another clump right here at about 55-ish seconds. And if you look at the spreadsheet, that is the soak. That's the intermission, the torment phase. So I'm going to put another placeholder there. Which one should I use? Well, the way that I'm going to decide that is I'm actually going to look at our logs from last week, because we have another disc priest on our team. And so if I'm running disc, that means we're doing double disc. And so what I've done is I've looked at our logs from last week, and I'm looking at my co-priest, and it looks like she uses, I went to the cast page, she's using evangelism at about 19 seconds, which looking at the sheet is the spears. So she's taking this first timing. If I was to be playing disc on this fight too, I do not want to be overlapping my advantage with her. I'm going to use it later. So I'm going to take this 53-ish timer for my evangelism. Now that I've decided that, I'm going to look at logs that start with an evangelism at this time and see when they're using their second evangelism. So this one right here is using it at 318. I see some that are using it at 304. This one's 30. Got a bunch that are 305, 36. So about this beginning of 3 minutes, it looks like that is the second soak. Yes. So 319, is that right? Yeah, 308, 319, somewhere around there. So let's go ahead and do that right here let's throw it on this, let's do it here at the beginning of the intermission. So I'm going to type in my name and evangelism. There we go. My evanges are planned for this fight. Actually, I'm going to bump it up a little earlier. I don't like that. I'm going to do it for the spear, because I know my team's DPS is good, and we might even be dead by then. So I'd rather have it be a little earlier. You could plan out your raptures. If you're splitting your cooldowns, then you could plan that on a different slot. If you are combining them, then you would just use it at the beginning of your ramp before you cast your evangelism. So that is up to you. I'm not going to fight that battle. There's very opinionated people on both sides of that, so I'm going to leave that up to you. Same thing for uppies and stuff. You can plug that in. I'm going to show you one last thing. This is also a good tool to see what the distribution is of Shadow Fiend builds versus Mindbender builds. So if we look at Mindbenders, looks like a ton of Mindbender builds, but the very top ones are running Shadow Fiend. So it looks like this is split. You can go either way. So it's your preference on how you want to use that. Some priests go as far as mapping every single radiance that you want to do. Some just plan their evangelisms. What I like to do is I like to plan my evangelisms, and if I'm splitting, I will also plan my raptures. And then for the first one, I also put whether it's a Shadow Fiend build or if it's a Mindbender build, and that just helps me remember from fight to fight. So I can just load my note and be ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and choose, I'm going to be playing Shadow Fiend. So why not? There's not much thought behind that. I'm just picking it for arbitrary reasons to finish this video. So all right, so I've got two bosses planned. I've got Disc Agira, and I've also got Gnarl Root. The next step is we need our in-game add-ons. So there are a couple different weak auras and add-ons that you need. Let's actually look at the add-ons first. The add-ons that you need are Method Raid Tools. And you should have that as a raider in general. That is an extremely important tool for raiding. So if you don't have that, I would highly recommend you get it right now. Obviously, you need weak auras. So you'll need that. Next is one called Shared Media Causes. So this one is it's just a bunch of sound effects that are shared between multiple different add-ons and weak auras and stuff like that. So it adds a bunch of extra sound cues and stuff that aren't there by default. So this unlocks a lot of extra functionality on different add-ons and weak auras. Another one that you'll need is Kaze. So let me find where that is. Oh, that's a weak aura, excuse me. I believe that's it for what you need as far as add-ons go. You do need a boss timer like little wigs or big wigs. I run the wigs. I like them a lot. So let's look in game now. Now that you've got those add-ons, the weak auras that you need. The first one is Kaze. So Kaze is a weak aura that it reads from your note that you're going to be putting in your Method Raid tools, which we'll go over in just a second. And what it'll do is it'll warn you when you're about to have a cooldown pop up. And it's got a couple different ways to do that. If it's an icon, if it's loaded like this, for example, with a divine hymn and it's got an image, then it will pop up as an image and it'll say the name and it'll have a counting down timer. If it is a manual thing that you typed in, like for example, I typed in seedling, which for some reason that got erased. So let me just type that back in. And it's a text thing that will pop up in the middle. You can use that to remind yourself of anything, like, get to the stack point or whatever little reminder you want to do. You could add that on any of these timers. So that is Kaze. Now, how do we get this in our game so that we can use it with a boss? Here on the spreadsheet, I'm going to click right here on this little button that says Load MRT. You will need to give it permissions. The first time you try to do this, it's going to pop up and say, hold on, wait. You just need to go through the advanced and just bypass that and have it trust it. And then from there on, you should be good. So after you click Load MRT, it'll run that script. And then when this box turns green, you can click on it, Control C to copy it. Then you go back in the game and you type /MRT, or ERT works. It used to be called Exorcist Raid Tools, so I still have the muscle memory of typing that, and I like not having to reach over for the M. Everything that we're going to be doing is under this note section. So first of all, you want to enable it, and then you want to move it around to where you want it on your screen. So I have it quite big. Mine is actually this entire area right here. And so we're going to make a new note. I'm going to name this Holy Delete Me, just so I know to delete it later. But usually I name it something like Holy Heroic or something like that, or Holy Mythic, whatever the spec is and what difficulty it is. And then down here you can click what boss it's going to be. So I'm going to put this for Gnarl Root. And now that I've copied this right here, I'm just going to push Control V to paste it. And now it's saved. Now you have two options. You can either, if you are the raid leader, you can send it for everybody. So this is the exact same process that you would use to plan out cooldowns for your entire team. You'd go down the list and you'd say, okay, Gala, I want you to go ahead and use your evangelism here, and stuff like that. And you'd add everybody to the list and the cooldowns and stuff that they're using so that they're all planned out and nobody's overlapping and stealing each other's timings and stuff. And you'd paste it in here. And if you move it to a clean copy and save and send, it's going to send it for the entire raid that is using this add-on. Now, if you're not the raid leader and you're just doing it for yourself, I often do this for myself, even if the raid leader and healing officer are sending a note. Sometimes I'll just send my own note to run in the background as well for additional things. Or maybe there's not a note. You can set as personal note. So your personal note will go regardless if there's a normal note. If there's a normal note, it'll fill up the top. If there's a personal note, it'll go directly underneath that. And you can see all this weird stuff right here got converted into a nice, beautiful, easy to read thing up here. So the yellow timers are the dynamic timers. You can see it looks weird. It goes 32 seconds and then 1:06 and then 3 seconds. That's because these are triggering based off of different events that happen. So 32 seconds is actually 32 seconds into the fight. 1:06 is actually 1:06 into the fight. And then right here, this 3 seconds in is right after this event right here, after the intermission ends, because this is a variable timer. It takes groups different amounts of time to finish the intermission. After the intermission's done, then it will trigger this next thing, which is 3 seconds after that. I've opted to also add static timers. You can do this little check box, and that'll show the actual true timer of when it will likely happen. That's not always accurate, and the longer a fight goes on, the more and more inaccurate that'll be. But I like having it there as well, just so I can glance up if I need to see it. And then it shows what event it's happening with and what cooldown. Now, with your Kaze, while you're in combat, it's going to pop up that icon if it's an icon like the Divine Hymn. And I've moved mine over. You can move it around in your weak auras. If it's a text, that's going to pop up as a text thing. And so that is the process that you would go through in your weak auras. You do want to, if you're doing it as a personal note, down here, you want to make sure that none of this is checked. If you disable shared note, the note that's being pushed by your raid leader is never going to be read. By default, it's only going to show your timers. So everybody else, it's not even going to worry about it. It's just going to show you only your stuff, which keeps it nice and clean. But if you click on show all shared timers, your screen is going to fill up with everybody's timers, and it's going to be very confusing and difficult to use. Disable personal note. That just makes it so that you can't use this functionality. Don't check that. And show all personal timers. This is if I had other people in my personal note, it would also read them as well. So just don't check any of these and you should be good to go. And then in, let's see, custom options, you can also choose right here the warn duration. I've set mine all the way up to 30 seconds. And the reason for that is because of disk. With disk, your radiance is on a 15-second cooldown, right? And your big ramps use 2 of them. That means that you need 30 seconds notice before you do a big ramp to make sure that you have both of your radiances ready. And so I like having it at 30 because as soon as my it pops up and says evangelism 30 seconds, I know I can't use any raptures or radiances, between now and then. Maybe if I'm already at 2 stacks, I can go ahead and use 1 and it'll be up by the time that 30-second timer hits. But that just gives me a heads up. I need to start saving my radiances so that I have them ready for my big ramp. So I like that. You can also add in TTS, so text to speech. So you can enable that, and that will say like Divine Hymn, and it'll also give you a countdown leading up to that timer. So I believe I'm rambling at this point. That is the process that I go through to set up my cooldowns. I do that every week. Every Sunday or Monday, I go through and look at lorgs, and I comb all of the bosses on both heroic and mythic to make sure that I'm running updated timers as the meta evolves, and as people figure out how to squeeze out more HPS and stuff like that. I try to plan that out for my own personal note every week, and it's really helped me a lot in being able to follow the trends and stuff like that to squeeze out more healing every week. So I hope this was helpful for you. Sorry if it ended a little bit rambly, but I hope this helps you squeeze out some more HPS and come into raid confident. So again, if you have any questions, please hit me up in the comments. I check them extremely frequently and respond to almost every comment. So I will help you out in any way I can. Also consider joining us on our community Discord, which you can find linked in the description. We have all kinds of conversations around healing and priests and all that good stuff. And you can also catch our raids on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. Mountain Time on my Twitch channel, which you can also find linked in the description. Thank you so much. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.